DW reporter Binish Javed, who filed that report, now joins me in the studio for more. Binish, welcome. Why is the Afghan Taliban supporting the TTP?
Birish, there are three main reasons. Number one, ideology. So Afghan Taliban and TTP both want to impose a Sharia-compliant political order through force. And Afghan Taliban have already done that. And that emboldens TTP and inspires them to follow their footprints. Secondly, history. So many members of the Pakistani Taliban in 1990s fought alongside Afghan Taliban and helped them seize power in Afghanistan in 1996. And when in 2007 officially TTP was formed, members of Pakistani Taliban again helped Afghan Taliban fight the US and NATO troops in Afghanistan. So over all of these years, strong interpersonal bonds between these two groups were created. So it's difficult for the Afghan Taliban to not support the Pakistani Taliban. And I think the last reason and the most important one is that Afghan Taliban want to use TTP to bargain leverage with Pakistan. For example, it could use TTP as a TTP thread to pressure Pakistan into recognize the Afghan Taliban government. And we know that Pakistan was one of the very few countries in 1996 that recognized the Afghan Taliban government in Afghanistan.
Exactly. Pakistan has for the longest time backed the Afghan Taliban. So what has gone wrong now?
I think the authorities in Islamabad for long failed to recognize the connections between the foe, Pakistani Taliban, and the ally, the Afghan Taliban. When Afghan Taliban took over control of Afghanistan in 2021, there were celebrations in certain quarters of Pakistan, and even then Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, publicly endorsed Afghan Taliban. Pakistan was believing that it would have a friendly regime on its western border, and that the security interests of Pakistan would be promoted. And that Afghan Taliban would return the favor of Pakistan for years of overtly and covertly supporting the Afghan Taliban. What happened was when Afghan Taliban actually came into power, their priorities changed. They wanted to gain more respect and support of their own people, and therefore they wanted to assert their independence from Pakistan. But I think most importantly, Afghan Taliban as a group want to have cohesion in their ranks and file. And TTP enjoys a support among Afghan Taliban, and therefore, even if they have to make decisions that anger foreign powers, they stick with those decisions. And therefore, it's difficult for Afghan Taliban to comply with the request of Pakistan to contain the threat of TTP.
Has the withdrawal of the US, from Afghanistan and of NATO troops made things more difficult?
So Pakistan says that number of attacks have increased since US troops withdrew from Afghanistan. The neighbors of Afghanistan also have security concerns. UN says there are around 20 different terrorist groups that are operating out of Afghanistan. A recent report of UN says that NATO-caliber weapons and ammunition is being transferred to the local affiliate of the Islamic State called Islamic State Khorasan, and these weapons are being transferred through groups associated with the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. Pentagon officials, in their testimonies to the US Congress, said that around gears worth around $7 billion was left in Afghanistan, and a lot of it went to Afghan Taliban. Now reports say that some of it is going to TTP and also now to Islamic State, which definitely raises security concerns in the region.
Binish, Pakistan currently has a caretaker government, but political instability, in addition to this economic instability, continues. What is fueling this?
One of the most popular politicians in Pakistan, Imran Khan, is in jail. Now, Imran Khan accuses Pakistan's military establishment and also the ruling parties of the former government of colluding to oust him from the political scene. He also accuses the military establishment of a brutal crackdown on his party. Many members of his party are in jail, and a lot of senior leadership has jumped ship. Now, many say that they did it under the pressure of the military establishment. and many Amnesty International Amnesty International and other human rights organizations say that Pakistan is using draconian laws to crush dissent. And one recent example is a civil rights lawyer in Pakistan, Iman Mazari. Recently, police barged into her home in the middle of the night, arrested her. Court granted her bail. She was again arrested. Many believe that it was because she was critical of the military. And that crackdown on freedom and dissent is, I think, fueling the political chaos in the country.
And it appears elections should have been held in October, but they've been further postponed. Why is that?
So Pakistan was supposed to have elections in October, November. Pakistan recently had census. The Election Commission of Pakistan says that it has to redraw constituencies that reflect the census. But there is also not a consensus. Many parties from the from the former government believe that they need to delay the elections. So maybe there is like more economic stability in the country and they might be able to gain support. And they also fear that the current, if elections happen in next few months, then Imran Khan might still be able to win if, for example, he comes out of the jail. But I think the elections are the only solution to Pakistan problems. If they are free and fair, and if there is a democratic government in the country, it could resolve many problems.
Well, we'll leave it there for the time being, but thanks so much for coming into the studio to break that down for us, Binish Javed.